Salve! We are going through Lucan's Pharsalia, Book 6. For my students, I am using this particular book. I will link to it down in the description. It's an excellent three-tiered reader that even my second-year students are working through nicely. Okay, I'm not the best at reading this in scansion, and you can see it's not fully properly marked in scansion. Acubidam nata fatis telore lucarunt castra duces, cunctos belli praes agafutori mens agitat. Sumique grarem discriminis oram adventare palast, propius iam fatam veri. It's the best I got right now, not having practiced it anyway. But ubi as an adverb can mean where or when, in which case we would read it with the verb, the main verb here, lucarunt. Now my verbs, so that I give a visual context for students, I underline verbs. Okay, so where or when they located, placed, or laid down. This is what I'm coming up with without researching the vocabulary meanings. They, we haven't determined yet. I would look through here and see the things that could be nominative are castra and duces. Well, I don't think the castra can place things, but leaders can, duces can. I make my subjects bold. This helps students recognize things as they're reading the Latin without having to look back and forth at their translations and vocabulary. So leaders placed or set down. That tells me that castra, being a neuter plural, either nominative or accusative, is going to have to be the subject, or I'm sorry, the object, the direct object. So I put that in a red bold. So the leaders, ubi, locarunt, when the leaders set down their camps, castra. Now we have hac telore being an ablative, so that's potentially going to tell you something about these camps. It's going to tell you where they were put down. So we have this here, ablative hac telore. It's just an ablative of place where. Now, damnata fatis is also going to modify castra with an ablative. Damnata is having been cursed or damned or condemned, abandoned. That's a singular feminine ablative, perfect passive, modifies telore. So in this land, damned, fatis, by the fates. So there you've got your ablative of agent. All of this in this land, damned by the fates. It all modifies telure. Okay. Then we have cunctos belli praesa gafutori mens agitat. What is all of this? So when this happens, when they did that, the mind here, mates, is your subject of this next clause. We know that agitat is a verb, very easily noticed verb, right? So when the mind Agito can mean a variety of things. Here we're kind of, it can mean, you know, to drive, to urge, observe, or we're gonna say turns, because it is referring to what the mind does when this is going on. So the mind turns. What does it turn to? What here looks like an accusative? Pharsalia, if this is neuter, is an accusative, isn't it? Accusative plural. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and put that in the, whoops, red and bold. Turns towards the prophecy. Prophecies, it's plural. So what we have going on here is main sagitat Pharsalia is one particular phrase. Okay, that goes with this. So the mind turns towards the prophecies. And then the rest of this, cunctos belli futori, is another phrase altogether. It's like taking this out and setting it in commas, setting it apart. So the mind turns towards prophecies, comma, cunctos, the entirety of impending war, futuri belli. We have sumique gravem discriminis oram adventare palast. What's where we'll stop. Notice the elision here. And because this is a form of sum, we elide the E out, and the A remains palast instead of palest. Okay, if this were any other word starting with a vowel, we would keep the E and get rid of the AM. Okay. Palest is where we're going to go to get our subject for this part of the clause. Lucan used palest, palam est, in place of patet est, which would mean it was plain that. And he used the adverb palam here. But its intention is verbal, so we substitute patet est in our translation, which leads us into indirect discourse. So it was plain that. For the rest of our indirect discourse, we need to find the accusative, subject, and infinitive. Well, we have oram as an accusative, and then we have gravem, which modifies it, singular feminine accusative. So it was clear that the fateful hour, or however you want to translate gravem, I went with fateful hour. These two together are genitives. Sumi modifies discriminis, which all together, boom, boom, modifies horam, which is modified by gravem. So it was clear that the fateful hour of sumi, the final discriminis point, adventare, approached. How do we get approached out of adventare? You have to convert your infinitive to a finite verb for your translation based on the verb that's already in place, and we've got palest, perfect passive verb. So that means the tense of our infinitive being present is equal to the tense of our verb perfect. So both of them will have taken place in the perfect past, right? The past where it was completed. So it was clear that the fateful hour of the final point approached. And you get the singular also from, well, you could take it from oram or palest being singular. So it was clear that the fateful hour of the final point approached. Proprio siam fata moeri. What is that? And that, and that fate, fata. That's going to be our, let me get rid of this. Fate was now brought, because this is a passive. And propius just means very near, right? It's an adverb. How do we get this? I mean, fata is actually technically a plural neuter accusative, subject of mueri in indirect discourse. It's still operating with palest. It was clear that fate was now moved near, brought near, or near at hand. Okay. So it's still part of this indirect discourse over here, even though we've got this period here in our English format. Ubi duces locarunt castra, so when the leaders had set down their camps, icte lore, in this land, damnata fatis, damned by fate, the mind turns toward prophecies, towards the entirety of the impending war. And it is clear that the fateful hour of the final point approached, and it is clear that the fates had now moved nearby, or had now been brought nearby, or close at hand. Had now moved close to hand, close at hand. All right, I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, let me know.